Welcome to my very first Walking Dead Dead City Season 2 episode review videos. I was able to watch the episode early on the YouTube AMC Plus channel. Before I get into that, though, pretty important. If you aren't caught up to the point where I am at rewatching or watching The Walking Dead Dead City, or you're just not entirely sure, then you definitely need to take the initiative and pay attention to the episode's title, which, of course, I'll mention as well as put in the description. If that happens to be the case, you find that you're not caught up, it would be my recommendation that you don't watch this detailed review any further to avoid any potential spoilers. And for those of you that don't know, I'm a massive Walking Dead fan. The Walking Dead as a whole is my favorite television series of all time. The spin-offs I like as well. I've reviewed every single episode of the main Walking Dead show on this channel. I've also reviewed all the episodes of The Ones Who Live, The Daryl Dixon Show, and the first season of The Walking Dead Dead City. I also have watched all the episodes of Fear the Walking Dead and The Walking Dead World Beyond. Fear the Walking Dead has mostly crap. There's a couple good seasons, but most of it is not good or mediocre stuff. And then The Walking Dead World Beyond is a show that I thought was going to be terrible. And I heard it was terrible from people that do Walking Dead reviews. And I went into it to familiarize myself with the CRM going into The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live. And I actually liked it. Aside from the first couple episodes were a little slow, but for the most part, I like The Walking Dead World Beyond. And maybe someday I'll review all those episodes on this channel. Maybe. We'll see about that. But like I said, I'm a massive Walking Dead fan. If you want to familiarize yourself with my Walking Dead fandom, at the end of this video with about 20 seconds left to go, I'll put some Walking Dead related videos or just some playlists of The Walking Dead. I'll make sure that I include my Walking Dead series finale for the main Walking Dead show, probably right up there, titled Rest in Peace, the sad episode with a certain character's demise, but it was a pretty good episode for a finale, even though it's not really the finale of The Walking Dead, because there's a lot more where that came from. And then, like I said, I'll put 4 other videos or 4 other playlists at the end of this video. And if you're new to the channel, welcome to the channel where we talk about Dexter, The Walking Dead, and I do fight reactions of UFC stuff as well. Other stuff I do as well, but those are what people know me as. The guy that does UFC fight reactions, Walking Dead stuff, and Dexter stuff. So if you're a fan of all that, or if you're new to the channel and you want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, please make sure that you Hulk smash the like button. It does help out. Share this video with a friend. Put this video on any one of your social media platforms. Don't forget to sound off in the comment section about what your thoughts are on this episode of The Walking Dead Dead City. What would you grade the episode, and who would you choose as a character of the episode? It's the Negan and Maggie show, but aside from Negan and Maggie, who would you choose as well? And then last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button, subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to get over 100,000 subscribers, so help me out with that goal. I know it's a pretty lofty goal. Join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special. And you never know what you're going to see on JDev TV. So this will be The Walking Dead Dead City Season 2, Episode 1. The title of this episode is called Power Equals Power. And this will be my review reaction recap after just finishing watching the episode. We start with a walker getting killed and put into a garbage truck. And then after that, the walker is taken into a building and put in a methylene, which lights up Radio City Music Hall on Times Square, the whole street. Then we have the intro, which I do like the intro of The Walking Dead Dead City. And I can't remember if I said this, but I'm going to say it anyway. During this week, I rewatched The Walking Dead Dead City Season 1, which I really liked the first time I saw it. This time around, let's just say I was dozing off during episodes a lot more, so it doesn't have rewatch value at the moment for me. But anyway, I do like the intro of The Walking Dead Dead City. And then Maggie is teaching Hershel how to throw what I think is some sort of knife at a deer to take it out. He misses, and Maggie's like, that's okay, you'll get it someday. And then Ginny is also there, and she gets scraped. And she tells Maggie she's fine. So she's kind of being a little brat to Maggie, like basically being rude to her at times. And then Maggie, Ginny, and Hershel return to the bricks, which we saw briefly in Season 1. We're going to get more of the bricks in Season 2, I think. Maggie sees the NYC hat that she gave Hershel at the end of Season 1. Now, I don't know if that's just to remind her of that's Glenn's son. Is that Glenn's hat? Is that, I don't know. I don't recall Glenn wearing an NYC hat. I think it's just because he always wore a ball cap that it like reminds him or her of Glenn. But anyway, if you know the answer to that question, make sure that you leave that in the comment section. But Hershel takes his sock off, and then we notice Maggie looking at the missing toe. I assume that's not the first time she's noticed that, but maybe it is. I don't know. Or maybe she didn't even notice it. She's looking right at it. And then Maggie starts to tell a story about when Hershel was little. And then we go to Negan. He wakes up in a cell and asks a guard if he's got any leftovers. And then he's like, here you go. And he gives Negan a plate of cockroaches. And Negan eats these cockroaches. And then Negan starts playing a musical or not Negan. The guard starts playing a musical instrument like a cello. No, not a cello. I don't know what it is. Not a violin. I don't know. Maybe it is violin. And he stops playing because the Croat has shown up and tells him to unlock the cell. And then the Croat says it pains Negan to see him like this. So basically what's happened is Negan has refused to do what the Croat and the Dama have told him to do. And because of this, they have him locked up in the cell eating cockroaches. And so then Negan mentions, because the Croat says something about going to get the boy. And Negan says if they go after the boy, Hershel, the mama bear, Maggie, will fuck them up, essentially. Like, anything you try to do to that boy, his mom will mess you up. You know she will, too, because she is one tough SOB. And then mad about this, the Croat says a few things that will have to escalate as Negan likes his bed, private toilet, and his gourmet cockroach meals. And then we have Charlie Bird with Pearlie Armstrong, who we saw Charlie being a female, at the end of season 1. And of course, Pearlie Armstrong was the person going after Negan. They show up at the bricks as Maggie, Ginny, and Hershel had run back there, and Charlie Bird being the governor of New Babylon. Pearlie says they're no longer lucky just being alive. He talks about them wanting to bring back Manhattan, and they're looking for soldiers to help with the fight, to go after the gangs that are in Manhattan area. And then we have a person is publicly executed because he fled. He is hung and dies, and Maggie doesn't seem so happy about this. I don't know if Pearlie doesn't either. It's hard to read him. He might be a big bad, which the big bads in this show aren't very good. Like the Croat, like really, is he really a bad guy? He's just more of a doofus. The Dama, well, I don't know. Anyway, so Maggie didn't look happy about that person dying because he fled to try to get away from the New Babylon officers or whatever. So the Croat has taken Maggie to the Dama. The Croat mentions a man named Bruegel, saying that he's a snake with a silver tongue. And that then Negan, after talking to the Dama, declines the Dama's offer. He says it's a little fancy for his taste, but he does appreciate the gesture. And then the Dama talks about the possibility of going after Annie, Negan's wife, from the final third of The Walking Dead, final season 11, and his son, Joshua. So if he doesn't do what they want him to do, then they're going to go after Annie and Joshua. Hershel talks to someone at the bricks about being in Manhattan, and he's like, you were there? And then he wants him to describe it, and then he starts to draw a picture, and he gives this picture to this guy. Pearlie comes to talk to Maggie. She knows that he didn't kill Negan, as Pearlie had been telling everybody who will listen that he took care of Negan, the wanted person. And he wants her to be a part of the team that goes to Manhattan. Pearlie tells Maggie that she's coming, and he mentions that he's a colonel now. So it's Colonel Armstrong. And then Pearlie comes to talk to Maggie. I already read that part. Oops. Maggie says that if she comes to the island, no one else comes from the bricks that doesn't want to. And then we have the Croat goes to bug Negan. He apologizes that his wife and son got dragged into this. The Croat has a surprise for him. Lucille 2.0 with a couple modifications to Lucille 2.0. Negan and the Croat go to see some walkers fighting, including a big, huge one. And Bruegel, the person that the Croat was talking about, is also there, played by Kim Coates. And then Pearlie Armstrong talks to Charlie Bird about Maggie being worth 20 soldiers. Hershel is mad at Maggie for deciding to be a part of Pearlie's army. Maggie must be tested before she can be a part of the group. So she has to, like, all these walkers are like, we're in this fenced in area, like there's 20 or more of them in there. Ginny goes in there, like, Ginny's crazy, so Maggie goes in there. They end up killing all the walkers. Maggie has to save Ginny at the end. At least I think she had to save her, but maybe Ginny had things under control. And then Maggie, actually, there's a walker that's sneaking up behind Maggie, and then this, like, deputy chick that's, like, with the governor. I want to say her name is Baez, but I didn't pause it to see closed captioning. It's possible it's Navarez, but whatever this character is, she seems like kind of a bitch, and yeah. But anyway, she shoots the walker that was going to go after Kate, and they're impressed. But she, I think, may have saved Maggie there, but I'm sure Maggie would have stopped it eventually. And then we have Negan is back in his leather jacket at this church. And then he's talking, giving a speech to this group, Bruegel's group. He talks about the badge they still have from Pearlie from season 1. And then Negan his ultimate point is to have all of them join him. And then we have Kristoff's pisses Negan off. He calls Negan a skinny bitch ass old man. Oof. And Negan says they're going to fight because he said so. And then Christos tells Negan to get that fucking thing out of his face because he had Lucille pointed at him. And Negan says no. And then when Christos grabs Lucille 2.0, it shocks him. And then Negan talks about the power they have because of the methane. And then Bruegel and his people leave. And they see that Radio City Music Hall in the street has lit up. So they have to be impressed by this power that they have. Then we have Ginny insists in coming to Manhattan, tells Maggie she's not her mother and she doesn't mean anything to her. Hershel says he's going too. Maggie grabs the picture Hershel drew of the Dama and asks, who is this woman, while crying. She tells Hershel another story. She talks about her mom, her dad briefly. Old Hershel. I miss Hershel. Too bad Too Far Gone, season 4, episode 8 happened, but it was a damn good episode. Not my favorite, though. And then we see Maggie and Ginny leaving for Manhattan. Hershel practices throwing his weapon. I want to say it's a knife, but maybe it's not a knife again, which he actually nails this time, like he gets it. And then we have the Dama talking to a rat about, I guess you won't be eating today, but don't worry, you'll get there. And that's what ends this premiere episode of The Walking Dead, Dead City, season 2, episode 1. So I'm getting a little bored of this show, which I loved the first season initially, but rewatching it this week, I was a little bored of it. And this episode, too, there was 2 moments where I started to nod off for like 10, 20 seconds. Obviously, I went back to make sure I didn't miss anything, but, I mean, it's still good. It's just not like, it's not an awesome, great episode 9 or 10 out of 10. It's more, to me, like a 7.5 out of 10. And then, as many of you know, I picked somebody that's the standout character of the episode. This is a Negan and Maggie show, so they can't do it. They can't be it every time. There are times there I will give that to Negan and Maggie, but for this episode, I'm giving it to Ginny because she was pretty badass. Like, she doesn't mess around. So you've heard everything that I have to say. Now it's your turn. If you're a fan of The Walking Dead or anything Walking Dead related, and you want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, please make sure that you Hulk smash the like button. Share this video with a friend. Put this video on any one of your social media platforms. Don't forget to sound off in the comment section about what your thoughts are on my review of The Walking Dead, Dead City, Season 2, Episode 1. What would you score the episode? Who would you choose as a character in the episode? You could do Negan and Maggie if you want to, but I try to pick somebody else because, well, I mean, Negan would have been the character of the episode if I did that. Maggie being the secondary character. And then last but certainly not least, I'm going to repeat this. If you're, don't forget to hit that sub button. Subscribe to the channel. Help me get over 100,000 subscribers. Yes, I know. I set my goals pretty high. Join the team. Show your damn support and be a part of something special. And you never know what you're going to see on JDev TV.